Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today in this teacher certification program. Uh, for this year, this is a season 2 for us, and I hope that many of you have already participated in our earlier teacher certification program. So, before we begin the session content, let me briefly tell you about the structure of this program. Uh, I hope like many of you already know, but some of you might not know about this. So this is a 4 session learning journey designed to support teachers in strengthening classroom practices. And today's session is session 1 in this series, and over the next days, like in next consecutive Saturdays, we will continue with sessions 2, 3, and 4 each, and each of those focus on different teaching competencies. And in terms of certification, I want to clarify that participation, like participants who attend minimum of uh, uh, sessions, three full sessions, will be eligible for certification. So, but we want all of you to join all 4 sessions. But the requirement for certification is minimum of 3 sessions to participate fully and to get the certification requirement. So let's move ahead. Now coming to today's session, our topic is for this session is creating an inclusive classroom culture, addressing biases and microaggressions. So this topic is extremely important because the classroom climate we create directly shapes how safe, confident, and motivated our students feel. So today we will explore what biases and microaggressions look like in real classroom scenario, how they impact our students, and practical strategies we can use to build an inclusive environment where every learner feels valued. I hope that this is clear to you. And also in the next later on session in a consecutive way, we will also learn about many more things. So let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Chiranjeev Dhruv, and I'm an senior education specialist at Varthana Finance Private Limited. I have been working in education and social sector for more than 5 years, supporting schools and teachers across different regions. I'm truly excited to facilitate today's session, and because creating an inclusive and respectful classroom environment is something I deeply admire and believe in. And I hope that this session will help you a lot. And I also urge you and request you to be participative, be engaged in this session. Now let's quickly look at the today's agenda. And today we will begin with our session objectives and with a quick icebreakers and to learn about the topic. Then we will move into understanding the foundations, what the mean, like what biases, microaggression, and exclusion really means. After that, we will explore common classroom biases, go through case studies, practice interventions, and finally build an action plan for exclusive teaching. We will in with the feedback and question answer session. So there you can ask your questions at the end. And now let's move to the objective part. The what is the main objective of this session? So first, to clearly define what bias and microaggressions and exclusion are. Second, to identify the common classroom biases that influences our interactions. The third one is to practice sensitive and effective strategies for intervening when exclusionary behavior happens. So to tackle those behaviors. And lastly, to create an actionable plan for promoting equity and respect in our classrooms. So I hope this till here this is all clear. To set the tone, let's begin with the small reflective exercise. We have a scenario. I will give you the scenario. Uh, so before this whole theory part begins, so let's see what the scenario is. I will just listen to the scenario. I will read it out for you. You can also read on the screen, and I will ask you a question, reflective question. So let me read the scenario first. So in a class activity, students are asked to form groups, and most of them they quickly join the groups with their friends. But Ria, a student, a quiet student, tries to join different groups. Two groups says we already decided. So even though they already have spaces, so two groups they said to Ria that they have already decided. Another group tells her that you won't understand the topic, so you this is not your place. So again, this group has rejected her. So eventually, Ria sits alone, pretending to work but not really participating, right? And later, the teacher notices she hasn't submitted her assignments and seems withdrawn. So the situation is like that, that there is a student and there is an activity going on in a group activity. They have to make groups. Ria is a student, she wants to be in the group, but unfortunately there are groups who are saying we have already decided, and some are saying you won't understand the topic, so it doesn't matter whose group you go to. What do you think? What is happening in this situation? So as you can see, there are many things going on. There are students who are biased in a manner like they are judging this Ria that she can't handle the activity. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Acceptance is missing. Peers are judging her and are biased. Yes. Due to gender bias, they did not allow her to group. Yes. So yes, you all are right. So there is gender biasness also going on. There are also assumptions going on that yeah, she she there might be some assumption that she can't handle the activity, so she can't be in the particular group. Biasness is when someone does not judge things fairly because of. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all of you for sharing. So this case helps us to understand the subtle ways which bias, exclusion, and microaggressions shows up in everyday classroom scenarios for every teacher. You must be facing. Children are most biased to their close friends. Yes, thank you, Suresh sir. So as I have mentioned that these kind of scenarios you are facing in day-to-day classroom scenarios, and you must have solved many this kind of scenarios in the classroom. So with this activity, we wanted just to like uh, to let you know that what is the actual crux we are talking about in this whole session, and we are going to more talk about more later on the slides. And this session will help us to identify these patterns more clearly. And I hope this will also help you to build up good solutions for these and create more inclusive environment for your students. So let's start by asking ourselves, like, what are we actually talking about when we say what is biasness and microaggressions? If anybody can define or anybody can say that what what biasness is, what microaggression is, or exclusion in simple words.
Bias favoring one person, microaggression, unnecessary anger or something, exclusion, putting
Yes.
aside.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So as sir has said, like exclusion also avoiding people or avoiding each other or colleagues or friends, and aggression also. Yes, bias is soft corner for someone. Thank you, ma'am. As also ma'am has said, biasness is also biasness means treating boys and girls unequally. Yes, Mohan sir has said, uh, treating boys and girls unequally. So there are many things, many instances related to biasness we have seen or we might be seeing into our classrooms, right? So let's better understand what biasness is. So biasness and microaggression and exclusions are. So let's start with first what biasness means, right? So we will start this explanation with the examples, right? I will tell you example. I will narrate an example here, being more affectionate to a particular person. Yes. So be like to only preference to give preferential treatment to some particular persons or particular students. That is also a biasness. So here we will see like we will start with example. I will narrate example and just listen to the example and tell me what do you think what is going on here. So first example here is, imagine a teacher praising boys, as already mentioned in the some already have mentioned here in the chat box that uh, a teacher is praising boys more during science activities and praising girls more during language lessons, even without realizing it. So there is he might not have realized it, but they are referencing that or saying that or praising the boys better when they are performing in science activities and praising girls in language activities. So, what do you think? Like, what do you think is happening in this situation is mainly related to biases. Like preferences are there. There are assumptions, right? So we can definitely say that there is some kind of assumptions, preferences going on with this scenario. So we have to first understand that what biasness is. With the two words, we can definitely say it is related to preferences and assumptions. So whenever there are preferences with particular gender or particular person or student, or assumptions with the background they are coming with, coming from, the language they have, the culture they have. So this will create like these preferences and assumptions create biasness. So we, like in this scenario also, teacher is praising boys for science, girls for language. So this is also a kind of preference and assumptions they have made in their mind that yeah, girls do better in language subjects, boys do better in science subject. So that is biasness. So they often unintentionally, also teachers are not someone they intentionally do that, but there are some scenarios that the environment they have grown with, where they say that yeah, don't do this activity, this is not this boys don't do these activities, and such like examples they set or they hear. So that also create assumptions in our mind, and unintentionally we do this kind of biasness somewhere. So I hope this you are clear. Now let's come to the second example. So here, a student says to a classmate, "Your English is really good for someone from your background." So here, a student is saying that to his classmate that, "Oh, your English is really good." In different scenarios, it can be anything like, "Oh, I didn't know that you could do better even without such a background." So it sounds like a compliment, but makes the other student uncomfortable. So other person will be uncomfortable because of this sentence, but it is also unintentional. So there is something going on. So I would like to ask you all, what do you think? What is going on here? Why such comments coming from a student? Why, even though he or she may not be intentional to hurt the other student, but yes, it is coming from some preferences, assumptions, anything. What do you think? Okay, so as I mentioned, so here it is a kind of a microaggression, right? So a small everyday comment or actions. So we have to remember that microaggression is nothing but small everyday comments and actions. So microaggression means a small, subtle, often unintentional. Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. So also as sir has mentioned, so we have to understand that with these two words, the everyday comments and actions leads to microaggressions. Okay, so this is nothing but some actions, and we can say unintentional actions, or some in some manner some intentional actions also happen, or comments. So that seems harmless but can actually hurt someone really bad, or emotionally hurt someone, students, or they can create a scenario like they negatively affect their thought process when they think about any kind of activities whenever they are doing, right? So this is what called microaggressions. Now let's come to the third one. Here, during a group work, a student tries to join multiple groups, but each group usually says, "We are full," even when they have space. What do you think? What's happening here? Here, also, we have already talked about it. They are trying to join multiple groups, but they are not usually, they're not letting her or him to join. So, what is happening? Yeah, definitely is happening is exclusion. They are excluding him or her from joining the group. Leaving someone out and leaving intentionally someone out is exclusion. So which limit their chances to participate with. which withdraw them from uh, participating in some activity or giving them particular chances and equal chances. So that is exclusion. Now, these everyday situations, yes, selfish. Thank you, ma'am. So this everyday situation helps us to understand the unseen behaviors that shapes classroom culture. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to building a more inclusive environment. So these all three, biasness, microaggression, and exclusion, are correlated. So we have to be mindful about that also. And I've already mentioned about words such as preferences, assumptions, comments, actions, and or exclusion. Exclusion indirectly we can use the exclusion word here. We have to remember this for our earlier slides as well. So now this isn't something only teachers do. Also, students are the most ones who learn from their environment. So they are the most the main victims here who learn these kind of behaviors from their environment, and they show these behaviors in their classroom. So in the next slide, we'll see how student biasness and microaggression affect inclusive classroom culture. So here, I will give you some real life example, like to think about it. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Can you think about any example or any situation you can share about your classroom where you have seen biasness happening, microaggression happening, or exclusion, other than whatever you have mentioned in the comment box, or a real scenario where a student, without naming a student or a, a school. Okay, you can use the chat box as well. So here, let's talk about. Yes, sir.
Yeah, generally teachers show this bias while evaluating the answer sheets because they
Okay.
have impression on the bright students. They will be casual while correcting the answer sheets, and they will be very strict correction below average student. That bias is automatic without their intention. That subconscious mind automatically alert the marks. That happens.
Yes, yes, that happens, sir. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. So as sir has said that whenever like correcting the examination sheets and all, it unintentionally comes to someone's mind or teacher's mind that yeah, this is a bright student. He or she might have already good, like written a good answers or like that, and unintentionally it happens. So thank you, sir, again for sharing. So let's move
Thank
ahead
you.
with the biasness. So when we talk about student biasness, so student bias refers to hidden assumptions students hold about each other, same as with in the case of other scenarios as well. For example, thinking thinking some classmates are naturally good, as already sir has said that teacher can be also be thinking the same thing. uh, so students also think in the same manner. So like some classmates are doing better, they are sharper than me, I'm not good, not better than them, and at certain activities or certain subjects. So these kinds of things happens inside a student's mind also. So, as I mentioned, the students also have this kind of biasness. So, this shapes who they are, who they respect, how they behave, and what they ignore, what they accept inside the classroom. Right? Raising only students who speak English fluently. Yes, that also happens, like background or language barriers, language biasness. Yes. Let's come to the second part, which is microaggressions. So microaggressions in the students are like small comments I have already mentioned, often said as jokes. Some students are joking with their peers that certain remarks are has said to them, which may or really hurt them in some manner emotionally. So also it discourages the someone to doing some activities, and also uh, like agreeing with some comments, and also create conflicts, right? So that can also lead to a like greater conflicts. So these usually targets languages, appearances, ability. So sir has already mentioned language, like somebody is talking good in English can also make comments like, yeah, you are really good in English compared to them. So that might lead, like that might hurt to someone who is not able to speak properly in English, right? So that happens. So let's move to the third part, which is exclusion. Exclusion is when students leaves someone out. As I've already mentioned, if you are intentionally leaving someone out uh, because of your preferences, because of some background uh, assumptions, so that ultimately leads to exclusion. And sometimes you see it is also happening without realizing it. Like, even though you have, suppose you have a good students in a one group, and someone who is lacking in some subject wants to join that group, they will automatically say that, yeah, you will drag us around, so let's not make a group. So that also happen. They don't want to discourage him or her, but yes, they are preferencing here also. This can also happen to anybody. So now together these behaviors silently, these behaviors shape the classroom environment, and ultimately it like it decreases the inclusiveness of the classroom environment. So they can also lower confidence, reduce participation, and create invisible walls among students. And understanding these patterns help us to build more inclusive and positive learning space. So I hope till here it is all clear. Everybody has shared their thoughts. Now let's move to the impacts of these biasness. So how this impact the overall classroom scenario. So the first one is gender assumptions. We have already seen in the example as well, and also most of you have shared your thoughts on this also. So there is gender assumption, calling only boys for maths questions, calling only girls for language or certain other tasks. So that is also gender assumptions, and also comes to biasness, and that also leads to other consequences related to preferential treatments. The second one is ability labeling. So tracking students into smart and struggling. So if we are labeling them also, that yes, this is a smart group, this is a struggling group. So that also creates a labeling, and ultimately is a kind of a biasness we are doing unintentionally, but yes, it is a form of biasness. And we can say some manner in microaggressions as well. The third one is cultural invisibility, using only certain cultural examples or celebrating only mainstream festivals. Since in India there are many kinds of culture, religions are there. There are many other preferences students have. So, like only taking examples and only mentioning one culture, one part of the culture is also leads to some culture invisibility. The fourth one is language preferences, valuing English proficiency, as Sir has mentioned, over multilingual abilities, or neglecting mother tongue, like speaking ability, over some other language or English. So that is also preferences or language preferences we do intentionally. Sorry, unintentionally. Uh, behavior. The next one is behavior interpretation, perceiving assertiveness differently based on students' background or identity. So, uh, yes, by judging them with their background, where they are coming from, what they eat, what their culture is. So that is also is a kind of interpretation we do on the behavior. The last one is participation style. So favoring vocal, quick responses over thoughtful and quiet processing. So there are many situations where we only prefer some students to get the answer from, not not particularly having those who are silent. So that is also participation style thing, which happens inside the classroom, and also it affects the classroom inclusive environment. So I hope these six things, 6 points are clear, from gender assumptions to participation styles. Uh, if anybody has any doubts, they can raise their hands, or you can ask in the chat box as well. Let's move to the next one. Now let's see in the next slide why the bias and bias needs to understand better. Why we need to understand it more clearly to understand what actually the impact on the children is happening because of this. So in here, uh, biasness and microaggressions, these affects children in three major ways. The first one is academic. So students who feel judged or humiliated, so they participate less and stop taking participation in activities. Even they go silent in the classroom. So it affects their academic performance as well. The next one is emotional. Emotionally it affects, so the students who feel bias, like who face biasness, they feel anxious, insecure and inferior, so their emotional well-being is really at social, the social factor which impact in the social life of the students, so they become isolated or avoid peers. So socially they also they, because they are avoiding any kind of activity, the participation, so they automatically they become isolated from the main group in the classroom. So academically, emotionally, and socially, this impact the students really bad. So as teachers, our daily actions either strengthen their confidence or chip away uh, or their motivation. So we have to be mindful about whatever we say, what we do, our actions. They are the reflections of our actions. So as adult, we have to mindful about that. Now let's look at the case study to understand how these behaviors unknowingly bring into the classroom. So we will have this case study here. So let me read the scenario first. Then we will reflect upon what the scenario is saying. During a science lesson, Mrs. Sharma asks boys complex questions and tells girls to distribute materials. So when Priya answers a tough question correctly, she says, "Wow, you're smart, just like a boy." So here, in this situation, Mrs. Sharma has no intention of that praising particularly, but she is unintentionally giving boys the complex questions and the girls to distribute materials. And when Priya answers the tough question, she suddenly says that, "Yeah, you are smart, just like a boy." So there is a references or there is a comparison. So just want to like get answer from yourself that what kind of biasness or what kind of behavior is this happening here? Is it microaggression or is it biasness?
Microaggression.
Yes, sir. Microaggression. Thank you, sir. Gender equality. Yes. As I've already mentioned in the previous slide, so gender identity is also kind of a biasness. So what do you think in this situation, the Priya, the student who has answered the tough question, what she might be feeling? Is she is she like it? Will she be motivated or her confidence will go down? Definitely, her confidence will go down because even though she has answered, but now even she is compared with the other gender, which is boys. She is compared to the other gender. So here we can see definitely see that what is going on is directly related to both microaggression and biasness. So now we have already recognized these parts, and all we have already answered this question, like what is this biasness shows here, right? And also what my Priya is also feeling that she is not going to be for like have a good thought about it, like she will not be motivated enough to again participate in the later activities, right? And also what do you think that other girls will feel? Will they be motivated to participate in this kind of activities? No, right? Because the there is a preferences for gender, right? Only the tough tasks are given to boys and the distribution part is given to girls. So it automatically comes to their mind that we are not meant for this task, we are only meant for this. So it leads to assumptions from their mind. So students are also assuming that yeah, this task is not meant for me. So that will also create like performance differences in later on. So we have to be also mindful about that. Now that we have understood these parts, and with this case study, uh, now we can recognize in these moments that how these microaggressions, biasness, and exclusion works. Now let's explore how to intervene these biasness, microaggressions, and exclusion effectively with strategies for handling student and teacher bias. So in the strategy, we will discuss about all these strategies and frameworks. Now that we have discussed all about these strategies, the biasness and all the examples, so let's look at the practical strategies which teachers can use to reduce them in the everyday classroom scenario. So because we as a adult in the classroom, we have to be also reflective about our actions, what we do inside the classroom. So that is why it becomes really important what we are doing inside the classroom. So these are some strategies which teachers can use inside their classroom or with themselves in their home, and whenever they feel time to reflect upon themselves and write their uh, unintentional behaviors or some misconceptions. So first one is practice self-reflection. So biasness can help, can come to anybody, and we might have this biasness from our childhood also. So we have to be reflective upon that, that what we are saying and what is happening to in the classroom because of that effect. So we have to be also mindful about that. So when we self reflect upon what we are doing inside the classroom, what we are saying, so that ultimately makes us think about the things which might not have been the right thing to say or done in any kind of scenario. That can help you in any kind of scenario. The second one is to use neutral and inclusive language. So labels such as weak student or slow learner can unintentionally create fixed mindset, right? So we should not label students as weak student, bad student, slow learner. So this is also kind of a like labeling we do, biasness we do. So we should avoid that. The third one is slow down before responding. So often microaggressions come from quick automatic reactions. So taking even a brief pause before responding helps us to choose words and actions that are fair and respectful. So whenever you speak, just take a pause, what you about to say, because that can also lead to, if somebody is fighting, the two students are fighting with because of some reason, you have to first to take a pause, or you can take that outside of the classroom to uh, reduce the conflict, right? Now the next one is diversify examples and participation. So who we call on, the examples we use, or the stories we share can reflect biasness. So suppose we are preferencing some particular, like for first benchers, not the back benchers, or some particular gender, or we are using some stories or some references from particular students. So that also like kind of a biasness, and we should avoid that. We should use diverse examples and also diverse participation uh, style. The next one is seek feedback from colleagues and mentors. So as name suggests, we should also ask our colleagues, seniors who are in the education field for a longer time, who have longer experience to how to manage such situation where students are biased or they are using some comments which is not appropriate for class. So that also helps teachers to identify how in those scenarios they can help each other. The sixth one is to build strong relationships with students. So when we understand students' background, strength, and their interest area, their hobbies, we rely less on assumptions. So we have to understand what student what the actual student is like, from their background to what their nature is, and then we can make assumption, right? Like what he might do or do better, and accordingly we can help them before assuming any other things from ourselves, right? The seventh one is attend training and stay updated. So bias awareness isn't a one-time learning. It requires continuous improvement. Regular training keeps us updated on effective strategies and help us unlearn old patterns. So we have to also think about unlearning old patterns which we have done in the our previous classroom lessons and all. So we have to also learn to unlearn with the trainings program. The last one is to apologize and to correct when needed. So this is also the most important part. Even we are the adults here, but if you think that something wrong has been done by you, you can simply correct the word, correct the sentences, or have simply say that sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to say that, or like that. So it doesn't make you feel low or beneath anyone. So to simply say or simply apologize is nothing but to correct what we have already done. So I think till here you have understood what, as a teacher, we can do to self-reflect upon our actions, our thoughts, and our comments, whatever we do or whatever how we behave inside the classroom, which can lead to biasness, microaggressions, and exclusion. Now that we have explored how teachers can reduce personal biasness and microaggressions, let's move to the next important part, which is how continuous feedback can help us to understand better about our students, right? And make the classroom more inclusive. So to respond biasness or microaggressions, we need structured strategies, right? So some useful strategies for inclusive classroom we are sharing here. So there are four strategies. The first one is student self-reflection sheet. So this is also a very simple thing, which we later on we will learn about it. Then participation tracking, then structured discussion, and then continuous feedback loops. So this is the four we are discussing here. There are many more. We can also share it in the handbook later on in the WhatsApp group. So you can learn about that in the those as well. So let's see. Let's begin with the first intervention, which is student self-reflection sheet. So this is a simple but a powerful tool. At the end of the class, like or even a once a week, you can give students a very short reflection sheet with just 3 or 4 prompts, just like one thing learn, one thing or one most important learn thing today is, or one moment where I felt included was, or one thing I want to improve is, one thing I like today, one thing I want to do today, or was able to do today. So these kind of one-liners can be done, and you can also not just in the notebook. You can also use the blackboard to like just the thought, just as the thought of the day. You might be using thought of the day for in each and every class. So that can also be used in this manner. That what is the most important thing you learned today or in this week? That can also be go along with any other kind of activity, right? So this small reflection can help students to build self-awareness, emotional intelligence. They also reduce bias among students because they start noticing their own behaviors, right? How they treat themselves, their classmates, and how they collaborate and how they communicate, right? So this only take 1 or 2 minutes of your time in a classroom schedule. So I hope that these kind of like comments or prompts will help the students to reduce the biasness and make them more collaborative and inclusive. Now let's look at the second intervention, so which is participation tracking. So this is nothing but simple tracking method. So we have mentioned it here, just as you can see. Uh, you can like you can use a table or any kind of app. If you have any ERP you are using in the classroom, or Google Classroom you're using, you can also use those to track which students have participated more, answered more questions, or participated in group. Even though it is a very small activity, but with this you can track your students' growth record, their learning patterns in for a longer period of time. So suppose in the beginning of the academic session, you have seen that one student have never answered a question, and at the end of the academic year, you can see with the record or pattern that where like in which position that student have moved from answering questions, from not answering questions to answering question or not. So that with that you can see your performance as well, like what is going well with your teaching, uh, whether they are improving or not. Because sometimes not only in the academic performance, like only the written exam is not something like make you realize that what is uh, not happening, it should happen inside the classroom. The third one is structured discussion strategy. So sometimes in open discussion, only the most outspoken students participate, right? So structured approaches ensure every student has a voice. So we are using here, we have taken example of think, pair, and share. So with this, like students, because every students think differently, you can give them a simple topic to think about what they are thinking, right? And and make them in a group to think what they are thinking. Suppose let's say you tell them a topic like, what do you think, like, well, if I prefer only boys for certain tasks and girls for certain tasks, what do you think, is it good or not? So it is kind of open-ended question, can be done in this think, parent, share activity. They can think about it, and then they share with their peers and in the pair. And at the larger classroom environment, you can directly tell them to come in the front of the classroom and share their thoughts, what they have think about it. Is it the biasness? Why should it be avoided? What is not good for the classroom inclusiveness? So this kind of activity really makes the collaboration part better. The fourth one is, and this the final one is the continuous feedback loop. As we already know that the why feedback is important to learn what mistakes we have done and improve later on, right? So this means that building a culture where feedback flows in both direction, as you can see in the slide as well. So this comes both ways. Teacher also gets their feedback that what they are teaching in the classroom, is it going well with the student or not? And also students get the feedback from teacher that what they are doing bad, or where what they should be learning or what should be correcting, right? So here also you can see that like simply way to do this kind of activities to ask students every day or in every week, like what helped you to learn this week, or what was the main point or main crux you learned from this. In the language you can ask, in the mathematics, or in any kinds of subjects you can ask, what was the most important thing you learned today. So by this also you can understand that what in the which area they are like actually struggling, and also you can also like find out that how either your explanation is more critical or not, you are able to explain to the students who are not able to understand, and how you can also make that more flexible for students to make them understand the lesson better. So this goes both ways. Students are also telling you, yeah, I didn't understand this. You can also make them clear that yes, you can do this in this manner. So I hope these four strategies or activities will like you have understood, and you can also like see this in the handbook. So now let's move to the next part. I hope that till here it is clear, and we are also at the last few parts of the session. So Now let's look at the very practical and easy to use model that you can also immediately apply in the classroom. This is four step intervention framework. So this framework helps us to respond to biasness, comments, exclusion, microaggressions in a calm and constructive and non-punitive way. So these this strategies or framework, you can say, will help you to tackle this like biasness, exclusion, and microaggression with more calm manner. So first one is pause and acknowledge. Acknowledge. So as I have already mentioned, as a teacher also, whatever you say that matters. So the first step is simply to pause the moment without embarrassing anyone. So when you see a fight is happening, or somebody is saying a bad comment with for their friend or for their other student, you have to first pause or make them pause, and you can directly say that let's pause here for a moment, and we will take it later. We will talk it later, right? Just to avoid the conflict or the situation, because there are situations where student might fight again and they say some other things. So just for the for you also to understand what is going on, to understand the situation, that is also possible. So to take the pause and acknowledge. Now the second one is explore the impact. So to help students think about the impact of the words or actions they are doing. So, for examples, by comments such as how might that comment make someone feel, right? How might how whatever you have said is make you feel. So you can use these comments in the classroom with the students who are using some comments which really hurting the other student, and you can take it out, and this shifts the focus from intention. Like some students are saying that whatever they are saying, that might be unintentional, but they are saying that I didn't mean it. So but you are saying that yes, there is some impact on it and it still hurts the other students. So we have to explore those impact with the students particularly, and solve the problem. The third one is to educate and reframe. So this is where we guide students towards better alternatives. You can say a more inclusive way to a more inclusive way to say that would be this. A more better way to say this comment would be this. Or a better way to encourage someone is to would be this. So we have to reframe, we have to use the sentences in a way that encourages, that would be that should not be directly negative, that should be a positive comment, that should encourage to to improve whatever they are saying, whatever they are doing in an activity or in a classroom scenario. The last one is to move forward. So like to reset the classroom environment by modeling how to move forward respectfully. A simple line like, let's continue with kindness and respect everyone. Let's have peace inside the classroom. Let's talk in calm manner. Let's be positive. So we have to be reflective about the situation. Let's not re- let's not be stuck in the situation, stuck with the problem. Let's move beyond the problem. Let's see the what is the solution. So with this uh, framework of these four steps, like pause and acknowledge, explore the impact, educate and reframe, and move forward, you can uh, use it in the classroom scenarios with the comments and avoid any conflicts. Now that we have understood the framework and also we have very less time, let's practice these scenarios and these frameworks by applying it in a real classroom scenario, in a real situation. In the next slide, we have a case study. So here is the scenario for this case study. The case study is in this way. So during a science lesson, Rohan struggles a lot, and a student laughs and says to him that maybe science isn't for everyone, and others joins him with this comment and laughs at him. That and that really hurt Rohan's like his feeling. So what do you think? How would you respond in this situation? What do you think? How in this situation, or you, I know that this kind of situation you have already felt, so you can also experience, like share your experience that in this kind of situation what you have already done and what was the result, how did you do that? I think that can also help other teachers who have recently joined in the education workforce, that can also help them. So here you can consider, like what would be your immediate responses, like should I directly intervene, or should I directly tell them that this is not wrong, sorry, this is wrong, you should avoid telling that why you are excluding him. Or you can also support Rohan later on, after, to encourage him that yeah, it happens, everybody struggles. Or you can tell the student who made the comment that stop doing that, right? Or the what whole class is learning, you can also create such learning opportunity for uh, students who are struggling separately, like, or giving them some other lesson plans in a like free time. Praise the child good qualities in front of others. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Yes, as a ma'am has said that to praise the child in front of others for his qualities, right? So every students have different qualities. Some might be doing better in some subjects, some might be doing in better in other subjects, another areas. So by acknowledging those areas, we can encourage. Okay, discouragement. Yes, also this is a kind of a different approach you can take also to discourage them to avoid this kind of comments or situation, so that they learn in a different way, right? Now let's think a long term, in a long term, like how do we build an inclusive classroom culture consistently, right? So here, these are the five actions that make big differences, which can help you inside the classroom, which we will discuss here. So we have to consider these points, right? So you can use or consider these points for your classroom scenarios as well. So you can establish clear norms before setting classroom or like any lesson plan. And in also in the bachelor's, you have learned that before setting, before starting a classroom, you have to set the rules and norms. So that is also clear too, I hope, that in this case also you have to be clear about the behavior part, that what expectation you have for the classroom before starting the class and between the class, and how should they behave, how they should answer, how should they collaborate. So this, by setting established clear norms, will help you a lot. The second one is to build daily practices, right? Like simple habits like rotating who is answering, like giving equal chances to everybody, or rotating the sitting places. Not every day the first bencher will be in the first row or in the first place. Every day you can like replace them. Every students will get the chance equally, right? The third one is to create safe reporting. So there should be a safe space. The students should feel safe with sharing their thoughts with you whenever they feel sad, or wherever they are struggling, right? So that you can also understand, you can also make them feel safer inside the classroom, and ultimately you can solve their problem. And because that can lead to anything, academic performance might be decreasing because of that, and anything else will be might be happening. The next one is to reflect weekly. So this kinds of thing we cannot just do one timely, or twice a year, thrice a year. It should be done on a weekly basis, or at least uh, on like in frequent intervals, so that you can work upon the areas which is troubling the environment of the classroom, which is hampering the academic performance of the students as well. The last one is partner with colleagues, right? So you can share your strategies or ask your colleagues or your senior teacher uh, that what kind of strategy they have applied in their classroom to succeed or to deal with such scenario where students are not listening, so students are like passing the comments, uh, like they are assuming things, they are preferencing things on others as well. So that strategy, that experience will help you a lot by collaborating with other colleagues. So I hope this is also clear to you. So one thing I also want to like make clear that here with this all the strategies and all, we are addressing the behavior part of the uh, like biasness and all, that is also comes under behavior. So we are only dealing with the behavior part. We are not here to judge the character of the students, right? So that is behavior which they are showing. The biasness, microaggressions, exclusion, they are all behaviors. We are not judging their character. We are not judging upon their character. So we should make a thin line between this, that we are only tackling their behaviors. And there are many reasons you have already experienced in the classroom. They comes from different backgrounds, and environment also affects behavior. So if you are able to, if that environment is in your control and you can able to change that environment, that will definitely change their behavior. So at the end, we are already at the end of this session, and we want to share a small assignment for you, that what you have learned from this session. And we want you to do this assignment uh, in this coming week. And you can like submit your answer if you want to directly in the WhatsApp group, and you can read here as you can see. So we want you to observe your classroom for this activity, for this assignment, with a fresh lens. So after this activity, just observe your classroom. So over the next few days, note any moments where students shows biasness, or you already have felt biasness. You can also put it down. Use microaggressions. They might be using microaggressions somewhere, or they are excluding someone. So don't identify the name of the student. We want just the situation, what you have observed, and just describe it if you can in the doc format, or you can directly put it in the chat box in the WhatsApp group. So you can then one thing you can also write could be like you could do the you could one thing you can do to make the classroom more inclusive. So what solutions you can put for tackling those situations, you can also write it in the assignment. So I think this activity will help you to just see what is happening inside your classroom in a different manner. Except like because now exams are going on, you have different mindset. But I think it will only take one classroom or one session to observe what is happening inside your classroom. Uh, I hope that this helps. We will also share it in the WhatsApp group. You can read it out there. So we have, at last, for summary, we have learned about biasness, microaggressions, exclusions, how they works, what comments should be avoided, what the comments affect and hurts the students, and if they affect their academic performance and all. Inclusions, inclusions goes through awareness, empathy, and consistent practice. Also, we have learned about different frameworks, strategies which can help teachers, students to identify their own reflection thoughts on their behaviors, what they should avoid. Also, the parts of students where you can handle students in certain scenarios with certain comments, right? And overall, we have learned about how we can make an inclusive classroom scenario where the behavior is not up to the mark, where we want students' behavior to be appropriate, which inculcate learning, which inculcate inclusive classroom scenario. So before we close today's session, uh, I was I would also like to talk about the next upcoming session. So our next session will be focusing on fostering student agency and autonomy through personalized learning. So we will explore how to help students take more ownership, of their learning. So please mark your calendar for 6th of December, which is next Saturday, same time, 4 p.m. Thank you all.